2023 season's back.
Ooh. Justin Jefferson.
Javante. Bijan Robinson.
Not Travis Kelce right now.
No, but Tyjae Spears is. My husband's making his debut.
Miles Sanders, quarterback 6.
Cole Kmet, tight end 1. Nick Chubb.
How can he be tight end 1 when Dalton Kincaid's going to be tight end?
Leonard Fournette. Football is back. Are you ready? And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Rich Dotson.
I'm Matt O'Hara.
And I'm Garret Price.
That's right. Own introductions in 2023 football kickoff. That's how we do it. New show, new intro. It's not a new intro. It's an intro we do every single year. I think we've had that same intro for like 7 years running, somewhere around there. It's been a long time.
I mean, it's been a while.
It's fun. It's fun.
It's predated me. I know that for sure.
So we're back. The show before the kickoff, which is just, if you're listening to this today when the show comes out, tomorrow. Maybe Travis Kelce will play. Maybe he won't. Ugh. But let's see what Pat Mahomes has got out there in the old arm slinger, huh?
In the old arm slinger.
It slings arms.
Yeah. Makes it sound like he's got an arm problem. I don't know.
It's an arm slinger.
Did that just throw an arm at me?
He's a dead ringer for an arm slinger. Pat Mahomes. I mean, I call him Pat Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes? Patty Mahomes?
Patty. I think Patty is what his friends call him.
They do call him Patty?
I have no idea, man.
Patterson cake?
Patty cake, patty cake.
That sounds fun. Mm-hmm. When's the last time you played patty cake?
I have kids, so I would imagine probably within the past 10 years at some point.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, you guys both have daughters.
That's true. It's different.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to like say you can't play patty cake with your sons. I just never did it.
Yeah.
I think my wife did though.
Yeah. Even boys like patty cake.
Yeah. Be fair.
At a certain age.
I didn't even really do the peekaboo thing. I'm like, watch this. The Browns are gonna go win here. Just.
And then they saw the win disappear.
I know. I just had to teach my kids the value of disappointment. They learned early. So we're back. This is our bold prediction show. I was on DTC yesterday, and I said I've done like 3 bold prediction shows in a row. So I'm like just regurgitating like my same bold predictions. I did Dynasty Happy Hour. Yeah. I did DTC.
Hopefully you didn't listen to those.
And they were saying yesterday, they were like, so we were Googling like bold, like, fearless, inept, like words that can go in there. It's like, well, we got to call something besides bold predictions if everybody else has bold predictions. So yesterday we did fearless forecast.
Fearless forecast.
I love that alliteration.
Yeah, I like that. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to talk about some bold predictions, both shows, this show and the Nerd Herd show.
That's right. Full of boldness.
We're going to get very bold, extra bold. We got a couple takes here. We're going to talk about and see how excited we are as we enter the 2023 season. We finally made it. All the prep, right? Like all the draft prep, all the summer trades are here. And our season, even though it began when we were drafting our rookies, this is where the feet meet the fire.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of something good, but that's the best I got.
Rubber meets the road.
That's the one I wanted to use.
Yeah,
this is where the rubber meets the road.
Meet the fire.
That's the usual.
Fire.
Yeah.
Ow! I don't like that.
Hey, you see those people walking on coals. I can't even walk on my deck when it's like 90 degrees out. Like these people are walking on hot coals. I'm like, what are they doing out there?
Sand, I'm like, sand is the worst when it's like crazy hot.
Yeah.
You have to like dig your feet as deep in as you can.
That's
You guys
otherwise
you just don't have the discipline.
The key is to kick the sand forward because it covers the sand up in front of you, and you're also getting deep. That's the key. From a habitual beachgoer.
There you go.
Habitual beachgoer.
I think you had it right at a bitch.
Wow, that's pretty mean to start the 2023 season. So,
normally I laugh at your jokes, but you stole Cole Kmet from me, so I'm not laughing at any of your jokes today.
On our Air Force League, that's going to come down to the wire to get kicked off here.
No Javante, no Tyjae Spears, no Cole Kmet. I don't even know why I'm in this league.
I was also sitting right next to Rich, drafting Dalton Kincaid, and He took it. I threw out a line. I was talking about how, tight ends, it's tight end premium. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to draft Dalton Kincaid when he comes back to me. Having already drafted Dalton Kincaid, he just didn't even check the thing yet.
Matt's just a spoiler of joy.
Yep.
I did not. When I'm drinking, like, things matter less, and things already matter less to me already. So it's I mean, I have my husband in other places, so it's like, we're not exclusive. We have an open relationship.
There you go.
There you go. I think you have to be willing to do that for an NFL fantasy player.
So I think here, before we get into bold predictions, obviously we have the Travis Kelce news of him being hurt.
Right.
We don't know how the extent of it. Usually a hyperextended knee, that can get you like up to 4 weeks out.
It all depends on the severity of it, right? I mean, and there's that. There's the Cooper Kupp news. Sounds like he's going to see a specialist, maybe get some platelet-rich whatever.
Yeah, sounds like he's gonna be ready tomorrow.
In there, so I doubt he's gonna be going either, right?
The guy's been at specialists more than he's been in training camp. It's we don't know how long it's gonna last. I'm gonna tell you how long it's gonna last. It's gonna last a while. And I got one of my bold predictions has to do with the Rams, and I'm gonna talk about kind of about where I think that's gonna go without Cooper Kupp as a whole anyways. So I got some takes, and I got some other takes about where it's going to go. Ties into
one of mine happens to be about that also. So we'll just tie those in together.
We have no idea what each other's bold takes are. We're a lot of other shows. They have show sheets and they do a lot of good planning. Not us. We like to surprise each other.
Not
with
on
these
this
things.
show.
This show. Yeah. I'm talking about this show. Like, we don't send each other like when we do shows like this where we have to like pick stuff like that. We like to do it.
The reactions are more natural that way.
Ooh, thank you.
Yeah, it feels more authentic.
Action, reaction.
That's right.
Action, reaction.
When
That's
you
how
said
we like
that,
to do.
I just automatically in my head assumed that you were calling me a natural beauty. I don't know why I felt that way, but I felt really good about myself. I'm like,
thank you.
I was like, thank you so much.
You're just so naturally good looking.
Nobody's ever talked to me like that before. Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
So before we get into that, I gotta tell you guys about my friends over at Underdog. We have this great neon sign here. Underdog gave us a couple weeks ago. We got put up in the studio. If you're watching the YouTube video, Garrett's gonna hold it up here because this thing's sexy. If you watch other shows, they have this as well, and I've seen it lit up and looks so good. It's just I'm a very big procrastinator.
Yeah. No, we've had it for a few weeks.
But I've got it in the box, so it's a step. So our friends at Underdog, not only will they send you like not you guys, but they send us sweet signs like this.
Not only do they send us stuff and not you.
It's just listen. The season starts Thursday. It's your last chance to get in Best Ball Mania. So if you're listening on Wednesday, get in there, do a quick draft. You want to win $3 million? You want a part of a $15 million prize?
Yes.
You want to be like Pat Coran and win $1 million more than him, be 33% richer than him?
Yes.
This is your opportunity. Get on Underdog, draft. Now, in season, you got a lot of pick'em stuff you could do in there, but right now, you can still do your best ball leagues, draft your team, get in there. I did one last night. That's why I didn't get no sleep last night.
You're drafting.
That's what it was.
I told him I couldn't sleep last night, so I was super tired today. And I was like, dude, I honestly can't remember what I did, like why I was up so late. I was up to 1, and I remembered I joined a $50 best ball draft, and obviously there's no slow drafts. And I was like, as soon as I started drafting is when I first started feeling tired. I was like, I made a mistake.
I instantly regret this.
Because like the season's about to start, so like up to Annie, I did $50. You know,
Sure.
like look at me,
Yeah.
Richie Rich over here. You know,
there you go.
$50. And I got 2 picks in, and I'm like, I just made a really terrible decision, and I can't quit because it's $50.
I'm so tired.
$10, we're good.
I'm tired of
turn
this
it off,
thing.
but-
It took me an hour to draft, and I'm like, that's why I went to bed at 1, and I'm like, oh, this is way past Richie Rich's bedtime. But right now, if you don't have to make that mistake, just make sure you start to draft an hour beforehand and get on there. And don't do the mistake that I also did this weekend is where I started 2 drafts, one a $25 one, another one $25 one. I put my phone down. I completely forgot I started them. I got auto drafted in both again.
And you have like 6 tight ends.
Which I told you guys I would never do again. Yeah, I got 1 tight end and that's it. I got 1 quarterback and that's it. I told you guys I hate doing the quick draft sometimes unless I'm actually like focused in.
Right.
Which I believe it or not, I lose focus very easily.
You?
Yes.
No.
I lose. I'm the guy that puts his pen down and can't find it ever again. And I'm in an all white room. So yeah, you get Underdog. You can enjoy those best ball drafts. Like I said, there's a lot of opportunity to win money in the best ball mania. Or you do like what I did, join the $25 draft, $10 draft, $3 draft, heads up, 5 people, 10 people, and have a lot of fun drafting. Because the most fun is really just drafting a football team.
Absolutely.
And what it does as well is like you get a little loosey goosey with it, right? You could like try different strategies and different builds. Underdog Fantasy, download the app. And if you download the app and use the code Underdog, we're going to give you a free year subscription to Nerd Herd. So if you start today, you're going to get all the way up to kickoff of next year. So you're going to get the full off season of Nerds. You're going to get the film room, the Nerd Score, the bonus podcast, which comes in huge during the rookie season, and of course the Dynasty Nerds film room, and so much more. If you're already a Nerd Herd member, we're going to send you a sweet Dynasty Nerds shirt like we're wearing now. These are now officially limited supplies because the maker of these shirts, he went out of business. Well, he didn't go out of business. He sold his business.
He chose to leave the business.
Yeah, he left the business. So that's it.
Once they're done, they're done.
We never.
I mean, we got to find
more shirts.
We're gonna find somebody else.
I mean, nobody else makes shirts. What are you talking about? What do you think? It's J.C. Penney's. So yeah, check them out. Underdog Fantasy promo code Nerds. We're gonna hook you up. They're gonna hook you up. They're gonna match your deposits up to $100. We're all gonna be Richie Riches together, and we're all gonna hold hands and sing Kumbaya. So, you guys ready to get in the season?
I'm ready to sing Kumbaya.
I'm so pumped for football.
We didn't even specify like how many bold predictions were we supposed to have each.
Oh, I don't know. I did a lot because this guy over here to my left, Matt, never has a lot. So I had to
How many did you do, Matt?
Like 5.
That sounds about right.
So we gotta go. I gotta go 2 to his 1 because then we gotta go Nerd Herd episode.
I got
2.
10. I have 10.
I have 1.
This is your guys' day
4
to shine.
I'm just here for the good time.
I'm here to laugh at your horrible predictions, give some of my terrible predictions.
I'll say last year yours were actually bold.
Good.
That was the first because before it was always like, man, that's not bold.
I have 19.
Oh my gosh, Rich.
Brilliant.
So Matt will give 2. Matt will give
You'll
3.
give 4 to every one of it.
I will give 1 on this show.
No, you'll give 2 on the show. If we don't talk.
You're gonna have to like rapid fire at the end of the last episode, probably.
You say that, but we have 2 hours to kill, pretty much.
Trust me, we'll fill it.
Yep.
So
We never have that issue.
No, we don't.
let me go. Can I kick it off?
Which is why
think
I
you
only
should.
did like 5.
Yeah, you're good. I'm gonna kick this one off with the least bold.
Okay. So like a 1 out of 10.
We're easing in.
Yeah, on the
right?
Dynasty Happy Hour, because I had to pre-record it, and I told them I thought I was tricked because they didn't do bold prediction. They did a hot takes episode, and I was like, oh man, I thought you invited me for hot steaks, so I'm really disappointed here. So I called this one my medium rare. Like it's what everybody would expect. And that's how I did the takes, like medium rare, medium, well, and then like burnt,
Super
pretty much.
crispy.
Yeah, which nobody sees it coming, but I'm still eating it, right? So like, this is my medium rare take. Like not too shocking, but still bold, right? Like still fearless,
Out of the expected.
still intrepid, right? This is
Intrepid.
call me Professor Rich.
Somebody got him a thesaurus the
I
other
do not
day.
think that word means what you think it means.
Do you say thesaurus?
Thesaurus. God just darn it.
What kind of dinosaur is that?
I literally thought the same thing. Okay, so my first bold take here is Bijan Robinson
I knew it was going to be unrelated.
is going to finish as the #1 overall scoring fantasy player non-quarterback. Love the landing spot. Love where he goes. We mentioned this before. You know, he lands in a perfect situation in Atlanta with the coach Arthur Smith, a team that already led the league in rushing yards and yards per carry last year. They had 2,209 yards, and have a quarterback or running back in a situation like him with a perfect coach that wants to run the ball a ton. He's a dynamic runner behind the tackles, but obviously, we see these quarterbacks where all the juice is, where the rub is the pass catching ability, right? That's where you want to get all your fantasy points is the pass catching running back. And we've seen Saquon Barkley do it. We've seen Zeke Elliott come out and be the #1 overall scorer in fantasy football running back their rookie year. And that's the class that I put Bijan Robinson in, right? That upper tier, all-time elite running backs. You know, Zeke Elliott, Saquon Barkley, Bijan are the best I've ever seen come out of college since I've been doing Dynasty Nerds. And I think with his pass catching ability, not a lot of options out there in Atlanta to throw the football to. The B Desmond Ritter safety net, I think that all those are going to be a perfect storm for Bijan to become the #1 overall fantasy scorer. I think we're going to see a lot more startups next year. You actually might see a running back kind of move back up, maybe surpass Chase. I do think another bold. I think Bijan Robinson jumps Jamar Chase in dynasty rankings after this year because how well he's going to do. And I know if you didn't use the film room, if you didn't watch a lot of Bijan tape, maybe you're not aware of how well he does in the passing game. But he is extremely talented there. And if he can catch 80 balls, 65 to 80 balls, That's going to be enough to propel him with how much rushing yards he's going to get to be the number 1 overall
But
scorer.
before you go, I just don't see it, man. Tyler Algier is. I can't even get through it. I'm sorry. No, of course he's gonna ball out, man. You know, Bijan is the man. There's no one there that's anywhere close to him from a skill standpoint, and he's gonna be catching passes. So I totally get it.
So to clarify, not just number 1 running back, but number 1 non-quarterback.
So more than Justin
Jefferson. So that's where I think this goes from like to like, oh, that's pretty
Right.
bold.
That's
Yeah,
bold.
you know, I heard your voice get bolder.
Yeah, that's definitely a bolder voice that I had up there. Because you're probably yards wise, I could see it. I think the part that could be tricky is the touchdowns. Are there going to be enough touchdown opportunities for this Atlanta Falcons team for him to get 12 to 14 touchdowns, which is probably what he's going to need to put himself in the spot to do
bridge that gap, right? I mean, because even if he does get 80 catches, I mean, you're still looking at 100 plus for Justin Jefferson if he stays healthy all year.
Yeah,
so
but
there's got to be
yards.
something that kind of closes that gap. So
Yeah.
it would have to be touchdowns.
Yeah, 1,300 rushing yards.
But honestly, 1,300 and
Actually, probably
and 600 receiving yards might not be enough to do it.
No.
Right.
More than 600 receiving yards.
Okay.
I'm thinking like 900 receiving.
So you're looking at a 2,200 yard season.
I'm thinking. I said. Remember the same thing I said when he came out. 2,000 all-purpose yards.
But that's the thing. I'm not sure if 2,000, if he doesn't get to that 12, 14 touchdown range, I don't know that 2,000 total is enough.
Well, you come up with your own bold predictions, and then we'll talk about them. But this is mine.
I did come up with my own bold predictions. We all did.
How about you agree to disagree? And that's my. I guess it's not as medium rare as I thought.
It's a little bolder. It's a little bolder because it's not just a number 1 overall running back. I think that's why it's a little more bold.
Dude, if I knew you were going to push me so hard, I'd wear my cement shoes. Garrett, hit me with a bold prediction.
Yeah.
All right. This one felt bolder before today's news. It feels a little less bold after hearing the Travis Kelce news, but
Travis Kelce's going to miss week 1.
yeah. Travis Kelce's not playing 17 games. No, Sky Moore finishes as a wide receiver 2. Currently, he's going off the board as wide receiver 47. And what gives me a little bit of Confidence is, everybody's talking about how Travis Kelce gets all the targets. And that's true. He does get all the targets. But Tyreek Hill was here before, and Travis Kelce still existed as the tight end 1 with Tyreek Hill there. So we know that this offense can support another high volume guy. And everything that we've seen in the offseason, between other guys getting injured, guys like Rashee Rice, we're already hearing that they're going to be used in packages, but they're not going to be, like everyone basically except Sky Moore in the passing game has had negative publicity to some extent. Sky Moore has had nothing but positive stuff all season long. It's his second year. And I really think that he's going to be a much bigger focal point of this offense. And now, especially if Travis Kelce is going to miss some time. If it's 1 week, that's not going to do much. But if he's missing 3 or 4 weeks, that's going to give a lot of time for someone else to have to get established. And I think that's going to be Sky Moore.
Yeah, position for him. And even if Kadarius Toney comes out and finally gets his feet planted in the NFL field and kind of stay healthy and, stay focused and be on the field every single week, I think there's still room with a team like the Kansas City Chiefs for Sky Moore to take a big step forward in this offense. And they do need, taking away, Travis Kelce's a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah, 1,400 yards. So, somebody's got to do, because Pat Mahomes is going to be throwing for 4,500 plus yards no matter what. So somebody's got to catch those balls.
There's certainly room for him to be a wide receiver too. I think that's not out of the realm of possibility. And all the news is, that he's earned a pretty consistent role while those other guys, Justin Ross, Rashee Rice, they'll probably start off the season a little bit slower.
They're package guys right now.
Kind of be package guys. And Toney, you mentioned it, hard to count on him from a physical standpoint, just staying healthy. So Sky Moore, I think, is the most likely guy to be there down in and down out. And that alone, just being there and being in the starting lineup, I think would be enough to get you into the wide receiver 2 discussion.
And he's going off the board as wide receiver 47 right now in redraft. So that's a huge jump if he can jump, 20 some spots, 23 spots to get up into the top 23.
And we talk about that a lot in the podcast as well, like how undervalued consistency will be, right? Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people shoot for those big time players that put up those big time points all the time. If you can give me a guy that's going to be 10 to 12 points, honestly 8 to 12 points every single week. I know it doesn't seem a lot, but like if you have in your wide receiver 3 role at the end of the year, if he's giving you like 12 points per game, that's a good wide receiver too.
Absolutely.
If you can get all those weeks every single week he comes out and shows out. So I actually like that one. I'm with you on that.
All right, I'm going to kick it up a notch.
Ooh.
With a second-year wide receiver myself.
Ooh, okay.
George Pickens is going to get 135 targets, 85 catches, 1,300 yards, and 8 touchdowns, and be wide receiver 8 on the season.
Ooh.
Now you think, this is crazy.
Yeah.
You're insane. There's no way he's going to earn that many targets. Last year, second half of the season, week 9 on, he had over 5.5 targets per game. And all I did was bump 5.5 up to 8 and extrapolate that on his catch rate and on yards per catch.
All you did was go from 5.5 to 8. That's it.
5.5 to 8.
Yeah, that's not much at all.
Take that, double it, and cut it in half.
2.5 more targets. That's it. Not even receptions. 2.5 more targets.
Yeah.
And it gets you to those kind of numbers for a guy that, for all intents and purposes, has been a big time offseason story. And there's been a lot of hype around him. I think there's some serious chemistry that is happening between George Pickens and Kenny Pickett. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. Do I think it's a little bit bold? Yes.
It's gotta be. It's a bold prediction
show. So anyway, all that being said, wide receiver 8 on the year. What do y'all think?
I love it. And let's remind people when you do bold prediction shows, these are things that you think could be the pinnacle of what could happen. Doesn't it? We already did our top 12s.
Sure.
Like we're
wasn't in there.
We're not saying it, but like,
right.
We're looking, these are the paths for these things to happen. And I think there's a very good path for George Pickens. I think the biggest question then would be, because right now George Pickens is pretty expensive. Like he's a hyped up name in Dynasty fantasy football. Talking about if he finishes wide receiver 8 this year, like what a massive ADP jump. Like where does he go in startup drafts? Does he go like right at the back, like the front end of the second round in startup drafts in one QB? Pretty interesting.
It could be that crazy. So, I mean, this is a player that right now is hyped. But if he was to ball out like that, to your point, Rich, I think you were trying to say is he could have another big jump from this time this year till this time next year.
What's an overpay days and underpay tomorrow? Because I mean, just to do that, just 2.5 more targets per game, which, like Garrett said, I mean, it's not like it's like chump change,
right.
But if we expect Kenny Pickett to take a step forward, this offense to take a step forward,
right.
Kenny Pickett's going to throw the football. And we always talk about the quarterbacks in year 2 in an offense take a step forward when for the good players, at least, they usually take a step forward. And now we're not just talking about Kenny Pickett. We're talking about George Pickens as well, taking a year 2 into this offense. So I can definitely see that path come through. Playing the AFC North, they're going to be tough games. Constantly going to be scoring out here in AFC. All good offenses. You're going to be put points on the board. And who are you going to throw it up to? One of the best jump ball catchers in the NFL right now, and a guy like George Pickens, because that's where he wins. He doesn't need all the separation we kind of like bagged on him for his first year. He's talented enough to win at the catch point.
Yeah, I was hoping that you were going to say Deontay Johnson, wide receiver 1, because that one I could get behind, even though that's bold and not as bold as George Pickens. Deontay Johnson's the one that I still think is going to be leading this team in targets, leading this team in receptions, yards, and I don't know about touchdowns. It'll probably be George Pickens or Pat Frymuth for touchdowns. But I think that's the only reason I'm not as in is because I think Deontay Johnson's the bigger benefit. Bigger beneficiary.
Could you see a world where Deontay Johnson does lead in targets, but George Pickens still has more yards? Or do you think those
possible?
Okay.
It's definitely possible. So let's look real quick.
Because Deontay Johnson historically has been a much lower ADOT type of guy,
right.
at least the past few years.
Right. So let's see. Yards per touch. George Pickens was around 15 last year, whereas Deontay Johnson was right around 10. So, I mean, it's definitely in the realm of possibility if they keep the reception numbers close. I just think because I do think Deontay Johnson will lead in targets, which will also lead to probably a higher reception rate because they are closer to the line of scrimmage. He would have to he would have to keep that target total pretty close in order to pass him.
Right. No, I could see Deontay Johnson getting 140 and my guy getting 135 targets. And you know, and then my scenario plays out and yours looks horrible. I mean, that's fine.
So say you're a contender in Dynasty and most of your receivers, like you have Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, and like DJ Moore. Those are your receivers.
Okay.
Those are actually my receivers in my original Dynasty League. So I'm pretty old, right? Besides DJ Moore. So I'm pretty old.
Yep.
Would you guys, if somebody offered, in your contender, so a late first, would you pay 2 firsts for George Pickens, or is that way too pricey for you?
No, I think that's at right now. I think that's too high of a price.
Because I think that's the go. I mean, otherwise you're not giving him for a first and second.
But if he does do what I said, it'd be worth it.
It would be worth it.
I've never been quite as high on George Pickens as you guys, so I'm not the right one to ask on that.
I wouldn't do it either, by the way. I'm asking because if the main question was to Matt, because if Matt thinks there's a path there, and again, it's a bold prediction, that's what the price tag would be, and it'd be well worth it.
So if he did this, you wouldn't get him for cheaper than that. How about that next year?
Oh no,
I mean,
definitely not. A guy that young putting up those numbers.
Yeah,
no way.
So
it would be like Garrett Wilson level of intrigue,
on
George Pickens then.
Which starts creeping into the 2+, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you're
absolutely
in that almost in that 3 territory, 3 first round.
Absolutely. All right, Rich, you've got 19 of them, so I think you're up next.
That was mine for a while. You guys,
you can just poke holes in ours for the rest of the.
Sorry, I have a football betting league, and somebody texted me they want to get in last minute. Sorry, it's a pretty fun league. We have like 120 people that do it.
Holy cow!
Yeah, big prize. You start off with $10,000 because I think gambling's like I don't gamble because I think it's a real bad path to go down. Sure. It can be pretty addictive. I'm not gonna lie. So I do this league where like you start off with $10,000 in the beginning of the year and it runs all the way to the Super Bowl. And whoever has the most money at the end, they win an X amount of
extra money
hugs. The second person wins an X amount of hugs, and then the third like
10,000 fake dollars is what you guys start.
You start off with 10. Yeah, so you pay like say you paid 200 hugs to get in. You start off with 10,000. Start off with $10,000.
Never heard of hugs as currency other than like the Trolls movie.
No, not currency. Hugs, Garrett. Get it right. And you do all the parlays, all that stuff, and at the end of the year, you don't even have to make a bet if you don't want to. And then in the year, whoever has the most money gets the most hugs. And then whoever has the second most money gets the second most hugs. But usually...
It feels like a real love fest.
Out of 120 people, by the end of the year, there's like 12 left.
Sounds
the
like...
top 10 get paid out.
Sounds like hippy-dippy baloney.
Well, sorry, nobody loves you guys. So let me get into my next bold take.
Some Woodstock stuff over here.
James Cook of the Buffalo Bills flirts with running back 1 numbers. Like, I don't know if he gets there, but he's gonna be so close if he doesn't.
What's like flirting like I'm looking at you like across the street waving, or I'm like up in your face flirting?
Oh, like you're up in the face. Like, like you know how his breath smells. Like you're in there. And
so we're talking like running back 13, 14 then.
Maybe sneaks into running back 11, 12. Couple of things is, one, we always see one of these good pass catching running backs always sneak their way into running back 1 numbers. We see it year in, year out. And what James Cook really does well is catch the football. And we saw the second half of last year, the final third of the year last year, he went from seeing like a little around 3% of the targets in the first half of the season to about 10% of the targets on the second and the last half of the year. Him being involved in the passing game is where I really like his fantasy football production. But what really kind of gets me a little bit higher, and I know Damian Harrison can probably take all the goal line carries, is this is a team we were wondering if his brother Dalvin Cook was going to go there. What running back were they going to bring in to offset James Cook and just keep him down as that pass catching third down running back? Well, they didn't do that. You know, I don't consider bringing Damian Harrison for a couple $1 and a hot dog like somebody that's really threatening his fantasy football potential.
They're compliment. I mean, him and Latavius Murray are just big compliment backs. That's it.
And that's it. And they're all the smoke coming out of camp is like, yeah, James Cook's our back. Like he's our true back. Like he's our starting running back, not just on third downs. He's our guy. And it's not just too long ago. They invested a 2nd round pick in James Cook. We were kind of thrown off by that. That's extremely high investment in a running back in today's NFL world. That's where the Jonathan Taylors go. That's where Nick Chubbs go. That's where all the running backs pretty much go. It's hard to see a 1st round running back these days unless they go extremely high, like the Gibbs and the Bijan. So with that investment, it shows that Brandon Beane and this team is behind him. And this isn't a team that's just thrown away like, oh, maybe we'll turn into something. This is a Super Bowl contending team.
It is, yeah.
So they're going to spend a 2nd round pick on something that they're going to think helped them win a Super Bowl. So they really do believe in James Cook. They did nothing to offset him to come out here. So for him to be a third, the running back in that scheme, and one of the running backs where we don't see like a ton of competition. When you look around the NFL, there's a lot of running backs with a lot of good competition to take away carries. We don't see that with James Cook. I don't get worried about Damian Harris. So I think that with his pass catching prowess on a team with Josh Allen that could really open up the flat and short, everything kind of underneath there for him, I think James Cook could really benefit from there. And I think that's going to be just enough for him when we look back on the end of the year. Like, look at James Cook running back like 13, 14. And he kind of fits in that mold for the next couple of years, depending on what they do, unless they have an opportunity to get like a stud running back in the draft right now. I think it will be the James Cook show in 2023. And I think wherever you drafted him, probably in the high second round of your rookie drafts, this is the payoff year that you get out of James Cook. Love that the situation he's in and the amount of looks and touches that he's going to get in 2023. That will propel him to be pretty high. I want to say Real Bold is going to be a running back 1, but my gut kind of tells me he's going to really be like right there in the edge. Like, you're going to be smelling his breath.
Yeah. Matt?
No, I mean, obviously, you expect to see a bit of a leap there. He was down probably in the 40s last year. So that's a pretty significant leap, but this is bold, right? I mean, and you mentioned all the reasons why, Rich. Last year, he was splitting time basically when he was down there in the 40s. So I do expect a pretty sizable jump, and he's got all the pass catching tools in order to do it. You know what I mean? You mentioned that as a pretty big catalyst to get guys from being one of these guys that jumps from way down on up the list. And we were looking at those lists every single year. It seems like there's a guy that jumps 30 spots or so to get into this running back 1 conversation. And why couldn't it be James Cook? I mean, he catches the ball really well, and there's not going to be a whole lot of competition there because I just think he's more talented than both those other guys. Obviously, you'd like to see probably a little bit more TD upside in order to really get him propelled up there, which I think is going to be a little bit limited with the quarterback there and the Harris, 2 other guys that are bigger backs. They're probably going to be used in that capacity a bit. So, it's going to come down to the catches for him.
I think this is an interesting one because I am a little bit higher on Harris. I think Harris is going to be somewhat involved in the game plan, but I think the big determining factor here is not as much James Cook, because I think the capability is there. I think he's got good open field moves. He can catch the ball well. I think the biggest determining factor in this is going to be Josh Allen. Does Josh Allen finally start to check the ball down more, or does he continue to keep taking off and running it? Because I think that's going to be the difference between him having a 60, 65 catch season and him having an 85 catch season. I think that's the difference between him being, running back 19 and being running back 12, 13. So I think that's what I'm kind of curious to see is like, how much is Josh Allen willing to get him involved when the plays break down?
And I think there was some talk this offseason too about like, hey, we do kind of want to run Josh Allen a little bit less.
Right.
It's really kind of why I know it sounds silly, but like I moved Josh Allen.
It's an annual thing.
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's an annual thing, yeah.
Lamar Jackson.
I mean, I did move Josh Allen just a little bit down on my Superflex rankings in the last couple of weeks. Like, we're talking like 2 spots.
Sure.
In 1 spot, I put Justin Herbert's currently my quarterback 2 overall.
Oh wow,
in Superflex, yeah. And then I think it's Josh Allen right after him, and then you're talking Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, there. So, yeah, James Cook. You want me to go another one?
Yeah, why not? Do another one.
Okay,
another one.
Here's one that Mac can agree on, and you've heard this name a ton on this podcast, and there's many reasons why. But J.K. Dobbins is going to finish as a running back 1 in 2023.
I think we both can.
I was going to say, yeah, I think we had that as our, not even our bold predictions. That was just our
regular old predictions.
Regular old rankings.
It was in your old, yeah. So it's not too bold, but I mean, this is somebody. Everything that we kind of said before about his pass catching ability, Lamar Jackson. If you haven't heard the show already, this is somebody before his knee injury, came back, didn't look 100%, but he took himself out. And then when he came back from that knee injury and he came back and he was fully healthy, we mentioned it before, 6.56 yards per carry, 505 total yards in those last couple games that he played with a couple touchdowns there. They do want to get him a little bit more involved in the pass game. You bring a guy like Todd Monken, and when Todd Monken comes in, he does prioritize the running back a little bit more than other offensive coordinators. We saw it everywhere he went, even in Cleveland, when you have a non-traditional pass catcher running back like Nick Chubb, where all his career average catches per game or targets are like 2.1 to 2.3 and 2.4. When Todd Monk was here, it's 3.1, the highest in Nick Chubb's career. So we saw J.K. Dobbins where he hasn't done the pros. He had 18 catches as a rookie, but he did do it at Ohio State. He had 71 catches his career there at Ohio State, so he can get it done there. We do think he wants to save Lamar Jackson, so he's there at the end of the year for the Baltimore Ravens. I know he might want to run instinctively, but they got to protect him. And I know I don't need all the tweets saying, well, Lamar Jackson never gets hurt. Run the ball. It's always throwing the ball. Yes, I know, but you still want to protect your quarterback. The older they get, the more susceptible they will be to injuries, so you don't want to run them as much. And it's not like Lamar Jackson is a Josh Allen kind of quarterback, like this big jack guy. So he's a little bit smaller in that aspect. So I do think J.K. Dobbins finally earns that draft capital and becomes a running back 1, and then you want to sell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's his contract year, right? Yeah. I mean, so he has all the motivation in the world to come out and ball out this year, and really, I think everything's come together anyway, right? I mean, injuries finally behind him. I think he's finally healthy again. So this should be the year if he's going to do it, and I do feel like he's talented enough to do it.
Yeah, I had him in the top 12 as well. So I'm fully on board with this. I think it's a great call.
What a bold prediction. Garrett, hit me with one.
I really wanted to, of course, get a Javonte one, get a Cole Kmet one.
Sure.
I left them both out. I had them both in my top 12.
You were too jaded by this current draft that we're going to.
It did hurt. But I still got a Tyjae Spears one in. Right. So Tyjae Spears carries flex value even with Derrick Henry healthy.
Whew.
So where I'm at with this one is I think that regardless of how everyone else views the Titans.
Wait, how many flexes does a person
super flex?
Does a person have to have value?
No, like 2 flexes and a super flex.
Okay.
So flex value in there. The reason I say this is despite how everyone else views the Titans, I think Mike Vrabel still views the Titans as a contender. I think that's why they brought in DeAndre Hopkins.
Hold out for one more day.
That's right. So I think that they are going to want to still obviously run through Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is going to be the focal point of the offense. But I think that they're going to want to make sure that they save him a little bit for the end of the season and not just run him ragged. He's getting older. He's, he had the foot stuff. Like, I think that they want to get him a few less touches if they're able to. And I think that's where Spears comes in. I think we'll see him more on third downs. I think we'll see him spell Derrick Henry in a few drives to the tune of, I wouldn't be shocked to see a total touch count of like 8-9 touches a game, which if it's especially in the receiving, all of a sudden now that's flex worthy.
And they're so different. The running styles.
Very different.
I mean, obviously, you got Henry, who's just like a freight train going straight ahead. You know what I mean? Yep. He's got build up speed, all this he's just a different kind of guy. And Tyjae's very quick laterally, very explosive. He's up to top speed quickly. So they are very different and they complement each other really well. So there's no reason I don't think for that coaching staff to try to get both guys involved. And like you said, even just to spell them, show the defense a different look, like something just to throw the defense off just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting 15, 18 touches a game, but I think 7 to 10 range, 8-9. I think that's a realistic expectation of a guy that they used a third round pick on, that they like quite a bit, that I think they believe is the running back of their future.
Yeah, and I think he's the running back of the future there as well, too. I think he's a perfect hashtag 2 to 3 year window kind of guy. I think he's one of the best buys in Dynasty. He's the kind of guy that if you have a starting running back that it's a little bit older, you're trying to make a move, that's the running back that I'm targeting, is a guy like Tyjae Spears. Like, hey, can I get Tyjae Spears in a second and I'll give you this starting running back? I think he's a perfect player to go out and get. I think he will be the starting running back in 2024. Derrick Henry's going to be almost 30 years old at that point. And this is last year's deal. And it's going to be hard for them to see them pay Derrick Henry when they have a guy like Tyjae Spears, and then probably likely hitting a reset button there in Tennessee pretty soon.
Right, absolutely.
So we're going down. We give my next bold take. I got to tell you guys about a new partnership that we're doing. I'm pretty excited about. That's right. Dynasty has a new partnership here with Sleeper. We all know them, the Sleeper app. They're offering a new thing, exciting new way to play DFS where you can win up to 100 times your entry, the highest payouts in the DFS market. You can track your fantasy players and your sleeper picks in real time. Choose 2 to 8 players for the pregame live, in-game, or even across different sports. If you use the promo code NERDS, you'll get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms for user details. Currently operational in over 25 states. And right now with our partnership, we are integrating actually the Dynasty GM experience into the Sleeper app. So if you look for the minis tab on your Sleeper app soon, within the next week, the Dynasty Nerds GM app will be in there, the league analyzer, hopefully, and the trade calculator. And yes, it will be used in a minimal, you only be able to use like in a minimal kind of way,
right?
A limited way, but it's a little taste of what we have going on.
It's a mini.
Yeah, we're trying to suck you in to get all your cash in our pockets. No, it's a good way for you to kind of see the GM there,
see the functionality,
see the
check
functionality.
it out. Yep,
yeah, so check it out, Sleeper DFS. Happy to have that partnership here.
Yeah, I had the opportunity just recently to hop on FFPC, and I'm shooting for $1 million at the FFPC Fantasy Pros Championship. $1 million grand prize, over $6 million in total prizes. Then they have the main event as well, where you could also win $1 million there. They've got some redraft stuff, but we've obviously just got a little bit of time while that's still going. So get in there while you can. Use promo code NERDS and get $25 off any entry for new members. That's promo code NERDS at myffpc.com.
All right. I'm about to get real hot and heavy in here.
Getting all hot and bothered.
Yeah, as we're where are we at in time at right now? I just want to know. I want to see. I don't want to like burn this place down.
We're at 40.
All right,
about 41.
So a few more.
I think we can do enough for like one more each, pretty much.
Okay.
I could definitely.
We could each do one more. Matt can get another one in. You'll save 3 for the nerd herd.
Perfect. Yeah, and I got a couple more after this. So
I believe you.
I'm gonna get through. Is my last? Oh, I got one more.
I believe.
I have 2 more running backs after this one, so I'll do both my running backs as well. How about that?
All right.
After this one,
You're the boss.
and actually, you know what? I'm gonna save this one because it's my hottest. It's my boldest take. So I'm gonna do a dead
you
last.
just argue with yourself?
I am because it's so bold. It's my boldest. It's my boldest.
All right, I'm getting us
prediction.
back on. Kyle Phillips will outperform Treylon Burks from a fantasy perspective in 2022. That was last year's. Never mind.
I was gonna say, did he say that last year?
That was last year's. Never mind.
It looked good for the first week or two.
Go ahead.
That was a terrible take.
That was a terrible.
I strongly disagree.
I saw that one and I wanted to keep it in there and reiterate.
I give that a 2.0 on a likely-o-meter. All right, so my next bold,
it was a stupid one last year.
My next bold prediction as Jerick McKinnon finishes the top 15 overall fantasy football PPR running back. That's right. Jerick McKinnon, the guy who I preached for years when he signed with San Francisco, is finally back, baby. He's healthy, for at least now. And he showed out last year. This is a guy who came in from week 9 on. He was running back 7 overall in PPR leagues. And I know they have Isaiah Pacheco, but to me, Isaiah Pacheco is pretty one-dimensional, right? He's a first, second down running back, north-south runner, runs hard. But for me, even though it doesn't break a lot of tackles, like I think Isaiah Pacheco, like he was a great story last year, but I think he's just honestly just an okay running back, just a guy who fits in that offense. Jerick McKinnon's a third down back there. He's gonna catch a lot of balls, and now even more so. Cause I wrote this out before the Travis Kelce news. Sure. Now with the Travis Kelce news, same thing where Travis Kelce works that flat and a lot of stuff underneath. Jerick McKinnon's gonna eat there, and we don't know how well these other receivers are gonna be able to get open and what kind of rapport they've had with Pat Mahomes. Jerick McKinnon will be that guy, will be that safety net. I still look for him to come in and catch, he's going to be catching right around 5 probably balls per game right there. Enough to be, if he was running back 7 last year, I didn't want to go as bold and say he's a running back 1.
Sure.
Because he's such a strictly a third down running back. But I think his talent there will get him into that top 15 range because he will catch enough footballs. I think he might flirt with potentially some of the highest catches on the team when the year is all said and done. He might be second in the team in receptions if guys can't stay healthy and already with the loss of Travis Kelce. So I think when you're looking for a pass catcher running back, if you're a contender and say you have 2 running backs, but you're really looking for a third, I think one of the best values out there to go buy for cost wise is Jerick McKinnon, because you probably get him for like a 3rd round pick right now out there. And he's somebody you'll be able to put in your flex spot, put in your start and roll, bye week filler. And somebody, again, I love those guys that are these pass catcher running backs because they're always consistent, right? They're always catching like 3 to 4 footballs and 40 to 80 yards, and then they get a touchdown. That's where the juice really comes into effect. Sure. But they're always going to give you some points. And the best thing is going to be availability and consistency, because the best ability is availability. And Jerick McKinnon hopefully is going to fill that role for the Chiefs. And now I know Travis Kelce, I'm even a little bit more excited how well he's going to produce. And if you trade for him now for a third, there's a chance with this Kelce news doing this 4 games, that value might spike about week 3 with Jerick McKinnon if he's a high-end running back too. And you might be able to flip that immediately if you don't need him. Even if you can just give him for a third, 4 second-round pick. And there you go. You just jumped a whole round in draft capital, but get a guy like Jerick McKinnon. So I really like him this year. A player that I've honestly liked now for years. I've talked about him before. Just been beaten up by the injury bug. Hasn't really been able to fulfill his promise. But this is what he can do here is the reason why I thought when the San Francisco 49ers signed him and made him one of the top 5 highest paid running backs at the time, this is what I envisioned of what he can do. And now he's just going from San Francisco Kyle Shanahan's offense to Andy Reid's and Pat Mahomes. And I think he can thrive just like I thought he could years ago. Will he be running back 7? Probably not. But I think he's going to be up there, maybe smelling your breath.
Smelling the breath, man. Getting in there, hitting on that RB1 number.
Smelling the breath.
Hey, for me, I mean, this one, he's in a great offense. He's going to catch a ton of passes. It all boils down to whether or not he can stay healthy for a full 17-game slate. If he does that, I think this one's pretty easily in the realm of possibilities. There's just no one else there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire unfortunately just never panned out to be what we thought he was going to be when he came out of college. And
Bull take number 2. He's running back 1.
caught 50. He caught 50 passes in college his last year there, and it never translated to the NFL. But Jerick McKinnon is the natural fit here, and Pat Mahomes is going to find a guy like that a lot. You know what I mean? So it's going to be super easy. And Andy Reid finally got his pass catching back in Jerick McKinnon.
I don't hate it either. It's obviously it's going to be tough, but as you mentioned before with James Cook, there's likely going to be somebody that gets in there. So Jerick McKinnon, James Cook, like those are the type of guys that have the opportunity, high scoring offenses. And it only takes a few big plays to really catapult a guy from, a 4 catch for 40-yard game to a 4 catch and he breaks a couple tackles. Now it's a 65-yard game with a touchdown, and all of a sudden he's really jumping the standings when that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah, and piggybacking off that before we get to Matt's second one, another bold prediction I have here is when you take the offensive coordinator from the Kansas City Chiefs and you move over to Washington Commanders right there, and Eric Bieniemy and how they use Jerick McKinnon, they use him successfully. I predict Antonio Gibson to be a top 24 fantasy football running back in 2023. This is a guy, if you just remember,
I mean, he's just using all my old takes. Like, I've already said this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Bold.
Yeah. One ear out the other. So I know this other podcast. I can't regurgitate the information, but I'm just going to regurgitate my co-host information instead. But this is somebody, his first 2 years in the league, he averaged, he was putting over 1,000 yards both years, putting over 10 touchdowns in both years that he was there. And it took a big step back last year when he fell out of favor. And right now there at Bieniemy, it looks like he's going to be utilized more in the passing game here, and that's what we're looking for. So there's a very good avenue here for him. Brian Robinson's, he's a north-south runner. I kind of feel the same way about Brian Robinson. I feel exactly about Isaiah Pacheco. So I see Jerick McKinnon and Antonio Gibson very similar in their roles. I think Jerick McKinnon's just in a better offense, a little bit more electric,
definitely,
and a more need of a pass catcher outside of a team that has Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, who could also be used out of the backfield if they want to. So I think Antonio Gibson, contract year, good position to come in. Remember, a former NFL or former college receiver as well, to come in there, catch a lot of, not a lot of footballs, catch enough out there to give you running back 2 numbers. And we'll see if he can actually get involved behind the line of scrimmage and between the tackles and run the ball as well. But I do look for him to be utilized at the goal line in the red zone and out of the backfield on 3rd down.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. So I'm going to go with a take that I thought was going to be much hotter. I kind of came up with this over the weekend, and then I haven't been on Twitter for the whole weekend because it was a holiday weekend. And then I wrote this thing up. I did some stuff on it. I looked at it, and then I went on fantasy Twitter, and then it was like everyone else was like, oh, my God, Sean Tucker this, Sean Tucker that.
Yeah, this was Sean Tucker weekend.
It was Sean Tucker weekend.
He got promoted. So our audience knows he was promoted. He's the number 2 running back in Tampa Bay on the depth chart.
Right. Now, was that the official release by the coach
today? It came out today.
Yeah,
but is it the PR staff that does it or the coach? Because that's always the debate over
who actually is.
I'm not saying that's not true.
Sending that out to everybody. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. I feel like the coaches they're trying to hide who the starting quarterback is. Why are they going to tell us So I'm not saying it's not true. I'm going to wait till game day though till I actually believe it.
You shut your mouth. He's number 2.
But anyway, my bold prediction about Sean Tucker was Sean Tucker, not Rachaad White, will lead the Bucs in touches and fantasy points for the season. And Tucker will be a borderline running back 1, running back 2.
Well, that's way too high, but okay.
Way too high and bold. It's not bold without that.
When I saw the news, I wanted to put him in the show today, say he's going to lead the team in rushing and total touches. I think Rachaad White's just not.
Rachaad White 3.7 yards per carry. Yes, he had 50 catches last year, but it's not like Sean Tucker is not able to catch the ball. He had 36 catches last year as well. I think Tucker is a much more explosive guy. If they start seeing some big plays out of him, he could easily just run away with this job. I don't think Rachaad White's wrapped up anything as far as a long-term seat there as the running back 1 for this team. And for a guy to go undrafted, listen, he had a heart condition. There's a reason that he went undrafted. It wasn't because of he was without skills that lend themselves to the NFL. So he's a guy that I think brings a lot more to the table than people are realizing, and especially brings more to the table than Rachaad White.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a guy that Garret took when we did our way too early.
Before I watched the tape.
Way too early. You had him
the 3rd running back in the class.
Yep. So for sure. And you talk about explosive plays. That's my biggest drawback on Rachaad White. He's just not explosive. He doesn't have those big plays. He's very easy to bring down. He doesn't break a lot of tackles. He's viable in the passing game, but behind the tackles, that's not where it's at. So he doesn't excite me at all. And this is a team that I expect he's going to get old real quick in my eyes, and they're going to give Sean Tucker an opportunity because they're going to want to see what they have. Right.
The other guy in the roster is Keyshawn Vaughn, and we all know that
he's 4th on the depth chart behind Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot about Edmonds. Yeah.
So
they kept 4 running backs.
They kept 4 on that team depth chart. Keyshawn Vaughn is 4th.
Was he? Yeah. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. He's shown nothing. So
no, he hasn't. I don't hate the concept of him maybe being the touch leader and the points leader on the team. So when you started talking about running back 1 range, where you lost me.
Yeah, that's a little freaky deaky.
That was where you lost me.
Listen, I had to spice this thing up a little bit.
If you just said running back 2, that's pretty spicy. I'm ooh, is there some cayenne?
I had to spice it up.
I just don't think he's
due to my own letdown.
To say it.
I thought I had this sweet take just with him being the guy that was going to lead in touches and fantasy points from the running back position, and then I see
we'll
all
just
this.
Edit the rest out, and then that's still a good take. we'll just edit out the second where we'll be like, Matt, good take. I like where your head's at.
What if pretend we edit our show? Yeah, Matt's a real good take. Running back.
But what if he was running back 14? Is that's still out of your realm?
Is Jerick McKinnon running back 14?
Yeah.
Is James Cook running back 14? Or Sean Tucker running back 14?
They're all going to be running back 14.
All running back 14.
I did that 1 year. And
do the math.
Somebody wrote on Twitter. Rich just said 6 guys are going to be running back 14. How's that possible? What about the actual good guys? What about the James Connors out there? What about those guys? Where are they going to finish? Oh, no, behind
Travis Etienne, way back. Kenneth Walker, way back.
Yeah,
all these guys are finishing ahead. All right.
He's he just named 18 running back ones.
They're all running back 14. All right. Let's get away from the running back for a second.
It's Leonard Fournette all over.
And it really is. He plays all the positions. He's all the fantasy goodness. All right. This one, I feel like this one's pretty bold, but I'm excited about this one. Because this is coming back to the hometown team here. Cedric
Cincinnati Bank. Oh, sorry.
I am almost closer to Cincinnati.
What is wrong with you?
What? He doesn't live where we live.
It's true. Ohio State. That's an Ohio State take. Cedric Tillman is next offseason ranked as a top 24 wide receiver. Wow. So this time next year, Cedric Tillman has established himself as a very reliable pass catching option in Cleveland. And right now, the contract situation with the two guys that are quote unquote ahead of him, which they are at least one of them, obviously, in Amari Cooper.
Sure.
We think he's going to have a great season, but there's an out in his contract. So there's a chance that he's not even on this team next year. I think his contract's friendly enough that he will still be here next year. But Donovan Peoples-Jones, his contract's up after this year. And with a guy like Cedric Tillman, I don't know that they're going to be looking to necessarily pay Donovan Peoples-Jones when they just drafted a Cedric Tillman.
They're two similar players, I think. I'm in total agreement.
Yeah.
I think they drafted him knowing that Donovan Peoples-Jones was on his way out, and they can just develop this guy for a year and kind of bring him along and slide him right in and do everything Donovan Peoples-Jones does, and probably even more.
Yeah, and knowing that even if Amari Cooper is here next year, as Dynasty guys, we're looking for the next thing, and we know Amari Cooper only has so many good seasons left, and we know Deshaun Watson is going to be in Cleveland for a while. So pairing those two guys up, Cedric Tillman's looked awesome in preseason as advertised. Like, he looks every bit that physical specimen of an ex wide receiver. So I think this time next year, or more like May, June, not right before the season, but in the off season, top 24 ranked wide receiver in Dynasty.
And the only next thing for Amari is getting worse. And
right.
You know what I mean?
Dropping in value.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to make sure you sign up with Underdog and use that promo code NERD so you can get the Nerd episode, because you're really going to hear my Elijah Moore take in the next show.
Here we go.
Going to take this place. And I love Cedric Tillman, too. Yeah. I do think he's I really feel
they're the future wide receiver core.
Yeah, I feel like Cedric Tillman's really like the solid, like in your starting lineup value is 2025 is where I feel his value. Because I'm with you. I kind of feel like Amari's back next year because I think the contract works at $20 million. Yeah. And I love Cedric Tillman. I loved him at Tennessee. I thought his injury is what propelled Jalen Hyatt into the Blitnikoff Award.
Absolutely.
He really did dominate until he hurt his foot. And I know I was the highest. I liked him and Marvin Mims significantly more than you guys did there. But I kind of went
definitely
back to
Mims. I was with
receivers.
you on Tillman, but not Mims. You were higher than me on.
I thought it was highest on those guys there. But yeah, big Cedric Tillman fan. I know you just drafted him in the Air Force League, so that's why you probably put him on your list. Like I got him now. I'm the Tillman.
Now he's really good. He was okay before, but now
it's funny when you draft your guys in your dynasty team, like your whole value changes.
Yeah,
like,
you talk yourself into him.
And as soon as that news broke, I took Sean Tucker in that same league. I'm like,
I saw Noah Gray went right after Travis Kelce went down.
Right after.
Yeah. So, all right, here's my last final bull take for this show before we get. So I did all running backs. Next show I'm gonna do my quarterbacks, tight ends, and receivers. But here's my hottest take. Right? Are you ready for it?
Best for last.
Evan Hall finishes as a top 24 fantasy football receiver.
Running back.
Running back. I mean, he can do it all. I mean, he's a better receiver than running back. So I'm just gonna say that much. But
guess who just drafted him in that league?
That's why I saw you go from 6 to midnight. So, my bold prediction is Jonathan Taylor doesn't play for another snap for the Colts ever again. Whew. He's donezo. That's it. Zach Moss is somebody we saw what Zach Moss is. We saw it in Buffalo. Every opportunity he's gotten, he's just not excited, right? Like it's like
a Rolling Stone grows no moss. So he must not roll much.
Yeah, that's a very good analysis.
Look at that.
Yeah, he's the guy that shows up to a costume party in jorts. So for me, I think it comes down
John
to
Cena.
And same thing with like Deion Jackson. No, he's not even dressed up though. He's like,
you didn't see him, so
he's his daily wear. And like Deion Jackson, same thing. Like he's a nice running back, but nothing special. So you bring in the rookie, Evan Hall, who is unbelievably athletic, right? Like a super athletic guy, catches the ball a ton. He also averaged, when he was at Northwestern, he averaged 3.6 catches per game. Saw a good target share there. And when you have a rookie quarterback like Anthony Richardson, Indianapolis, behind a really bad offensive line, where Anthony Richardson really thrived and probably was the best in his class, was really avoiding a rush. Like he does a really good job of that. Did last year in college, he did it. He'll have to do it again this year with the Colts because the offensive line's so bad. That's why I love the fit. I think with a rookie quarterback, he's going to be looking for, again, that safety net, right? And it's going to be the pass catcher running back. And I don't know if Deion Jackson can win there. And I know Zach Moss caught the ball well in college, but in the pros, like he hasn't really won there. I think the Colts are at a team that was really bad last year, right? They're going to have to see what their core is because this is a team that's going to be bad again this year. They might be close in some games. They have a solid defense, but in the AFC, they're going to be pretty bad. They picked fourth overall for a reason, and I don't think Anthony Richardson's going to flip that switch quite yet. Maybe he does, maybe doesn't. We'll see. But I still think he's a little bit raw. So I think Evan Hall will be that third down running back, that guy to kind of bring that juice for him to catch those footballs. So with his athleticism and how dynamic it was, this is somebody who, at the end of our rookie analysis on running backs, we're like, oh, this guy's more electric than we kind of thought he was. For me, he's going to come in, kind of establish himself as the best fantasy option in that backfield and give us low-end wide receiver 2 numbers.
Or running back.
Because I think he's going to do it all in the receiving game. You said the new Leonard Fournette, so that's true. He can do it all. If you're looking for
Passing, running, throwing, Cordell Stewart.
If you want the next Taysom Hill, it's in Taysom Hall. Take that pill, baby. It's Evan Hall. So he's going to be out there, be your receiver at running back. I mean, I saw it get done with...
Easy for you to say.
Who was it in New Orleans?
What are we at?
What are we talking about?
The tight end that was listed at...
Taysom?
Oh, Taysom Hill?
Taysom Hill?
No, before him. Marcus Colston. Remember when he was listed at...
you don't remember that.
Was he listed as a tight end?
Yeah.
I remember Colston, but yeah.
Yeah, but he was a receiver. So
When he first came into the
Hofstra?
league, his first year, he was listed as a tight end on like Yahoo and most of
wow.
most
So
of
you
it.
got to eat.
He destroyed. He won people. Everyone that picked him up off the waiver. No, everyone picked him up off the
Yeah, that's
waiver
true. He
wire.
was, what, 6th, 7th round
Yeah,
pick?
I lost a championship because of it because somebody played him at tight end and he was a receiver and I threw a pity party. I was huffing and puffing. I was like, this is. I actually wrote. I think I'm no lie. I think I wrote Yahoo.
Listen, Yahoo, you multi-billion-dollar company.
I think I wrote him like before the game started. I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. He hasn't played tight end all year long, and you're letting him line up at tight end. I'm in a championship game, and this is really important.
And
to
I
me.
am gonna lose.
It went right to the trash. Chuck fail.
Junk.
I wrote a stern letter. I think it's the only time I ever wrote a stern letter in my whole life.
Sternly
It's
worded
ridiculous.
letter.
So Evan Hall, running back 2, low end. Here he is. Hot takes. Let's get in the next show. I got some more bold predictions. We got to talk Elijah Moore. We got to talk Dalton Kincaid. We got to talk Cleveland Browns. I have a real good trifecta for you at the receiver position. Yeah. I'm going to lead the show off with that, my trifecta.
We got to talk Rams too, right?
Ooh, we got to talk Rams. There's some. It's gonna get in there. I haven't got my Rams take. So that's it. Tune in. Check out our sponsors: Sleeper, Underdog, FFPC. We'll be back next week talking about week 1 of the season. I hope everybody's out there. I hope all your players stay healthy. I hope they all find success. I hope you guys kick off the season, have a ton of fun. Everybody's got a good shot here, unless you're a Cardinals or Rams fan. They go out there and win some football games. Listen, I'm a Browns fan. I've been there 95% of my life, so I understand. But
Probably not Houston
I make
either.
fun of nobody. I've been there. So let's hope your teams do well. It's a fun time of the year. Let's hope your dynasty teams do well. Take advantage of those teams that think they're really good before the bye weeks hit because they're really not. They get these week W's. Those are my favorite teams to attack. We'll kind of talk about that strategy as the weeks go along here too. Week 1, week 2. I'm excited for the 2023 fantasy season. Let's hope all that work pays off. Let's start our road to our Dynasty Fantasy Football Championship this week. And we'll be back. No pity parties. No pouty faces.
Adios.